Welcome to Reader Syndicate 3.0, the next evolution of the look into counterculture that is canon. My name is Matthew, owner of Riot Seeds, and this started as a one-man mission for strain history and breeding science. Over time, it's evolved into something bigger, better, and more of a team effort. We will be joined by members of the Canilluminati and other friends throughout the seasons to hear their takes on grow techniques, breeding science, strain history, and more. Our mission is to combat the narrative that corporate cannabis and seed posers are obfuscating for their own financial benefit. Welcome to the underground. We are the Syndicate.
The videos on this channel, the Breeder Syndicate 3.0, are compliant with YouTube policies and does not depict or promote any sales or distribution of any substances. These videos do not violate any YouTube community guidelines and is intended to educate the public about historical and scientific aspects of hemp plants. This video does not promote, idolize, nor glorify any illegal activities or unsafe consumption of regulated substances. We are not doctors or lawyers. This should be super obvious. With that said, some people need to be reminded about this. Do not take anything we say as medical or legal advice of any sort. We are just the best at what we do. Live with it. All content is copyright of the Breeder Syndicate 3.0, 2024, Section 107 of the Fair Use Act. Thank you for your support.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Matthew, and I'm here today with Screw. Our buddy Chuck's feeling under the weather, so he won't be joining us on the show, but he might be chiming in. And yeah, how you doing, Screw?
Pretty good. Just getting everything, rolling again and momming up and whatnot. Just trying to probably about to pop a couple of packs of seeds here soon.
You gotta pop that coochie. That's right. What's on deck?
So first the Sunset Cliffs from Bitter.
Okay. What's
the Shore by P91S1.
Oh yeah.
And at the same time with the Diesel Valley from Cronzo. And then that, I guess, triple pack of the Sludgeberry.
Oh yeah.
And I figured I got fem stuff, so I already know, it's all good. I can kind of split it up a little bit and make it a little bit easier on myself.
Yeah. Definitely. Shout out to our brother Stony Iommi. We miss you, buddy. You shall be back. You shall return. All right. So today we were going to cover a few things. First, I think we'll go over the rescheduling since it's brand new within the past few hours, at least today it was announced. And we'll see what the update is and see how it affects everything. And if we even know how it'll affect things affecting, seeds and whatnot. And then we're going to go into something that I labeled the Indica and Sativa myths, the why, the when, the where, and bringing in some of the teachings from Rob Clark. And he was kind enough to let me use his book with Mark Merlin as a reference and as a teaching tool on the show. So, yeah, I think that'll be a fun one. I think some people may be very confused on why Indica and Sativa aren't necessarily the best description when we're trying to break down plants. And, there's a long myth about all Sativas bring you up and all Indicas bring you down, and why there was a need for new classifications on top of the old classifications, modifications on the classifications, as it were. So with that, let's see, where do we start here? I think we're going to have to talk about the DEA, the world's scariest middlemen, taking the side of Schedule 3. Here we are. And what do you got, Screw?
Yeah, so they did a new hearing, and I went through parts of the transcript and stuff that I found pretty interesting. So remember the action that they took a couple months ago? I think it was June, maybe, when they did that whole splitting up of, oh, we're going to move, medical marijuana to, Schedule 3, but we're going to keep illicit Schedule 1, like how stupid that whole framework
Splitting
was.
the schedule.
Yeah, so they're essentially like coming back and cleaning it up. And honestly, is like, I don't know, weirdly normal. Which, my entire life has not been, pretty much all of our entire lives have not been that way. They've just been like, nope, it's not true. And they're, their own lawyers are the ones petitioning for it.
Yeah.
For all marijuana to be moved to Schedule 3, and not, obviously there's just like you can have other prescriptions, say prescription codeine, or you could just be selling illicit like they don't have a different class for none of that, because it doesn't make sense. It's the same substance. So this is just kind of them, I guess, fixing their own mistakes. And just their like what they brought into court. Hold on, I got screenshots of it so that I can bring it up. Just some of the things that now keep in mind, this is the DEA's legal team.
Yes.
Saying the vast majority of individuals who use marijuana do so in a manner that does not result in dangers to themselves or their communities. Another one. Risks to public health are lower for marijuana than other comparative substances like heroin, cocaine, and oxycodone. Based on review of emergency room visits, hospitalizations, unintended exposures, and overdose deaths. So that's them actually looking at this stuff and be like, okay, well, this is obviously not as dangerous as heroin. Which, the different parameters that make up.
I can vouch for that.
Well, the different parameters that they make up, like they're, for what classification a substance goes into, they're saying that 2 out of the 3 reasons why it is Schedule 1 is untrue.
Yes.
Like that it has been proven not to be true.
And that's the DEA saying this, correct?
Yes. This is the lawyers at the DEA who have been fighting us this whole time.
By pushing the propaganda that it was addictive and there was no medical value.
Yes. Which they get to that too.
Yeah.
There is consistent evidence across multiple databases reference in the 8FA that show while marijuana poses a risk to public health, it is lower than that posed by most comparator drugs.
Yeah.
Which, obviously, duh.
Yeah. I mean, even using, when they took me off insulin and put me on Monjaro, like the amount of damage that can do to someone's body right away, like in your brain, is pretty gnarly, and like the effects of it are pretty gnarly. But they hand it out like candy, even more so than insulin. Yet here we have weed that the DEA has been pushing back about for years. Yeah. So this is a big deal. Also closing down the Schedule 1 loop of BFing everyone.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's kind of fucking crazy. Like they say, hey, here, marijuana can no longer remain in Schedule 1 because it no longer satisfies 2 of the 3 statutory requirements. This tribunal need only find that marijuana has medical use for 1 medical condition to be transferred out of Schedule 1.
Yeah.
recommendation found that marijuana had like approved medical use for not one but 3 therapeutic conditions.
Mm-hmm. They only had to find one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're saying like not only is there 3 proven uses, approved medical uses, but it's also not as dangerous as other drugs. Like
Yes.
both of those requirements are null.
Do we know what the third one was that they didn't qualify for?
Let's see.
Because that would kind of be interesting to hear what they were like. Well, this one does kind of apply.
Potential for abuse, medical use, and safety.
Okay.
So they're saying it is shown to be safer than other drugs, and that there is proven medical use, which potential for abuse, I think that's...
I'm a fine case for that.
Well, I mean, that's definitely something that can be argued. Now, in like the class that it's being put into, is it as abusive as any of those things? No, because there's physically addictive substances in Schedule 3. That like
for sure
you'll shit your fucking pants for 2 weeks if you stop taking it.
Yes,
stuff
sure.
that you'll have seizures because you don't. Like, so there's that.
Quitting,
But hey,
quitting weed made me grouchy after smoking for years and years and years and years and years at high levels. Just made me really grouchy and grumpy and not sleep well.
Yeah, I mean, it's refreshing, I guess, to finally see like, like, because they've known this whole time. That's also why it's going to be interesting to see how it actually plays out. The why behind it, all that is going to be, because obviously something fucking happened, because that's not a subtle shift. That's up until fucking this year they've said like bullshit. It's just been the same stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, to me, it almost seems apparent, like even in this image, you can see True Leave on the New York Stock Exchange, knowing that they're lobbying all through Congress and senators and everyone else, including the president.
And fucking meme coins.
And meme coin.
For political power.
Yes.
Almost like a fucking bribe.
Yes, exactly. And that the DEA is already going to be the middleman, where growers are going to have to then move their cannabis flower to the DEA. The DEA is going to then middleman it, move it to the next group, and there's some number of months between payments.
See, that's something I still don't get, is are they actually talking about because remember when we talked to Farmer Freeman about this, and he was like, well, yeah, that makes sense that a controlled substance, the government is going to want to essentially have monopoly on it to control it. But that's not how other drugs are. I looked because I was like, man, I want, is that what they do with fucking like Vicodin and, like, I mean, there's so many drugs, and like, obviously I get the government buying large portions of them for like strategic stockhold, that type of stuff.
Sure.
But is that how normal operating business is? And it's not. So I don't, I don't know if they're meaning like physically, or if it's gonna be some weird kind of, like, I don't know, essentially functionally just a database where it's like a track and trace type of thing, or what, obviously that's going to go to one of these big dickhead companies who are already doing it.
Yep.
Whoever
lobbyists,
fucking politicians' kids invest in, that is going to get it. But yeah, it does make me wonder how it's actually going to come out. You know, like how it's gonna operate.
Yeah.
Are they just gonna fucking kind of leave people? Because I mean, rec doesn't fall under. They're not going through a medical system. Does that mean, in order to be completely compliant, you know, like are states going to close down Fed or rec loopholes? Are they gonna, you know, like, and then if they do, it's like, well, didn't Washington like close down rec or close down med because of rec? Like one of those Pacific Northwests.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one, but I'm pretty sure they like functionally don't have a med market anymore once rec got passed.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's some weird questions about how it's all going to play out. Because, you know, they're not doing it from the fucking kindness of their heart. And they're not doing it because they didn't know until just now.
Yeah.
You know, it's been so fucking obvious and clear to anybody with a brand. Their initial recommendation was to not have it Schedule 1. So, and they chose not to. So it's like, and they've kept that hard, staunch like stance up until essentially they were the lightest they've been is just like, oh, we're not gonna mess around with the legal spots. How about that? You know, like that's, but no actual fucking trying to change anything. And now to make a complete 180 and say, hey, this, you know, this needs to be changed. It's just weird, you know.
I mean, if they're middlemaning, the middleman always wants their money somehow. I mean, I don't know why they're not, and maybe they are middlemaning, you know, opium production and all that stuff. I know our soldiers were over there protecting opium fields at some point in Afghanistan. So maybe the DEA was middlemaning. I don't know how any of that worked, really. But this is more money, obviously, taxed. I don't know if it's a way to double tax it.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. So now there's gonna be, you know, at some point there's gonna be a fucking framework for federal taxation.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen with these places that already tax it like fucking, you know, like the crazy amounts that they do? Which I guess on one hand will be good because you'll actually be able to get like the federal, any type of like federal business, like tax incentives, that type of stuff. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, fuck, how much you can only bleed a rock for, you know, so long.
Exactly.
You know, these places that are getting like most of it is just paid in taxes, most of the cost, because it's taxed all the way through. Now you also have to pay Fed tax. I don't know. I'm not a business oriented guy, really. So,
I mean, I just think about it from the grower's perspective. There's going to be some taxes involved with licenses and production and, you know, being the middleman. And at the end, when the buyers go to buy from the end point, there's also going to be taxes there. So it just seems like all that gets passed on to the buyer at some point and almost becomes prohibitively costly. I don't know any other way that it can't.
well, yeah, it seems how other places have played out is that the people who get fucked are the grower and the fucking customer.
Yeah.
Everyone in the middle makes money somehow.
Yep.
They don't do nothing but pass it off, you know? Which,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I get it, make some money, but, you know, you can't be the one who makes all the fucking money, brother. You know, like, we all have to eat in this chain here. It doesn't work with that, and it doesn't work without the people actually growing it, you know, until, I mean, I know they're probably like, ooh, those fucking yeast THC, you know, barrels are probably sounding really nice.
Yeah. You know, speaking of which, this is kind of a tangent, but have you heard about some of the stuff going on with meat other than not just Tyson closing, but I forgot what it's called. It is a form of biomass that they're doing, but moving all kinds of meat and lab-grown meat on trays and in big biosilos. Have you heard about this?
No.
Yeah, I guess it's been going on for several years. Um, there was a place, I want to say it's called Cann, Kann, in Portland, Oregon, where they first started rolling it out, and it's a Haitian, like a really high-end Haitian food place, and they've been moving this lab-grown meat through there, and it was on a specific day each week, and yeah, Pinzer's been doing a lot of studies into it because it seems so ridiculous, but yeah, I think that it's something that they've predicted with beef and with cows, with chickens specifically, and it sounds really foul. Like everybody's going to be eating some form of tissue culture spam, and has been in many cases. Cell culture consultation. Yeah, she'll drop some links if anybody's interested. But you can look up cell culture consultation with the FDA, USDA. It's up there. There's universities doing studies on it, and of course the FDA and USDA have put out stuff on it. You could find everything out about it. But it is one of the most gaggy, gross, like that show Pluribus, like, or I forget what the movie's called, but like where they're basically processing humans, or any kind of meat into little protein bars, Soylent Green. There you go. It's getting much closer to that, and really gross, really gross.
Well, there's some tech messiahs who think that's exactly what should happen to the homeless population.
Yeah.
That we should be in feudal corporate fiefdoms, and the unproductive should be turned either into fucking methane or biomass.
Yes.
Super cool that, they got the vice president to be the vice president. Nothing worrisome there.
Yeah. Oh, here it goes. Only about 3% of it is animal cell. They're taking the animal muscle cells or stem cells. Specifically, the test at Cann, Kann, was grown in bioreactors and serves salmon. They're doing it with salmon specifically. Cultured chicken has also been served since 2025.
I mean, look, I'm not going to lie. I will try the food out of the replicator. Okay.
I mean, I think we've all tried it and not known. Like, like any TV dinner with those cubed pieces of meat that taste a little bit like bologna and not quite like chicken, but it's labeled chicken. Yeah.
Oh,
I
eat
like
entirely
has to be chicken.
I eat entirely pre-cooked fajita chicken. If it is in the chain, I've definitely eaten it already.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know how our bodies will be handling this kind of meat. I mean, I know in Australia they're being served horse meat already, and mixing it in with the beef and other meats.
So, I mean, historically, our species has eaten its horses when in dire times, so that's not surprising.
We've also eaten other humans in dire times.
I mean, that's a little bit different, than 1,000-pound steed, but just Jessica from down the street or whatever. But I think it's just trying to fucking tech our way out of our food system problems instead of actually fixing them. You know what I'm saying? We make enough food. We grow enough. We produce enough food to feed everyone on the fucking planet.
Yes.
We just have to figure out how to fucking actually get it to them, and how to do it without destroying the area we produce it in.
And not going to war with the countries that we were doing business with, or tariffing them to shit so we can't get it in here. I mean, they just imported what? Hundreds of thousands of tons of ground beef from Argentina. There's a finger or two in that shit.
Well, I mean, it's quite possible that it's part of the rejected batch.
Could be.
I think it was China or some other country already rejected it. Like, no.
Yeah.
And then already like 93,000 pounds or something like that has been recalled because it's tainted. It's like, wow, who'd have fucking thought?
To be expected.
But
Ever since I've
can't blame
gotten out
them.
of
We
the
got glass and poop and all sorts of stuff in our food, apparently. So, which I get has happened. Like there's been a degree of that all the time.
yes.
With just like how massive our food system is, but boy, it seems bad.
Tissue culture meat from stem cells grown in biosilos. Biocontainment. Yeah, I think, and the reason I was thinking about it was because of biomass in cannabis. Like hemp producers were trying to produce as much biomass as they could to then turn it into pens, or turn it into these things that could be turned into THCV, THCP, THCO, HHC, you name it. That biomass was all usually converted into like the delta 9 THC minus the A. However, they were doing it to get around stuff, which led to a lot of this rescheduling, and a lot of the stores closing down. Now, do we know how this rescheduling is affecting seeds? Has anything changed there?
I don't think so, because I mean, still under. So essentially, this thing, from at least from how it reads, is that it's just saying the substance instead of trying to make like subclasses within it between distinguishing medical through a state approved program versus like illicit marijuana. They're just saying all of it is Schedule 3, and it's like, yeah, you can still get arrested with Schedule 3 drugs, like
Yes.
if they're not, through the proper channels or whatever. So that seems to be the only thing this has said, which I mean, I know they did that whole, they're doing the like pushback against hemp stuff, trying to, mess with it and doing the whole actually enforcing, I guess, the laws around, making like some type of push of enforcement on those laws. But I don't think that this is going to affect, how they do the seed stuff one bit.
Yeah, it's been very interesting to watch how different seed makers approach it. Lots of people are like, come November, never going to make another seed again. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I wonder how many are saying that, in preparation, just to be like, no, which I get that.
Same. I'm not doing nothing.
Yeah, no one's ever committing any laws or breaking any laws.
Correct. Why would we? That's horrible. Shouldn't do it.
But I don't know. I don't see it as any different, really, as it's always been. It's not like it was fucking okay for you to. That's why they would get fucking taken in the mail when you would get like people getting fucking shit from the Attitude and then just receiving a letter being like, hey, I took your stuff. If you want to come try and fight for it back, you could come to the post office, which is an obvious trap,
Yeah. I got a question here from Joe's 333. Any info on Resin Lung Skywalker? Resin Lung didn't have a Skywalker that he passed. So I'm not sure what you're referring to. He did pass me the original OG, and he had the Louis, but there was no Skywalker. Now, a lot of people get confused when it comes to Skywalker. Is it the Dutch Passion Blueberry Mazar Skywalker, or is it the Skywalker OG, which had nothing to do with the Dutch Passion Skywalker and was just a neat Star Wars name stuck on a strain that was an OG Kush that was like Tahoe or any of the other OG Kush clones out there, not much different. But as far as Resin Lung goes, no, there was no Resin Lung Skywalker. Not from him. Hopefully he pops in and we can ask him directly. Sometimes he'll pop up. But yeah, Resin Lung wasn't a big clone passer. So I don't know how that's circulated or even been there. Yeah, and I've talked to Resin Lung, like I said, sometimes he'll pop in here, sometimes he won't. But I always try to get him back on the show, but he's kind of a hermit. So we'll see. We'll see. I like nudging him. It's always good to nudge the resin lung because he's funny as hell. And there's a lot of episodes no longer on YouTube that I'd like to get back on YouTube. And in fact, we have the Mad-Jag ones going back on.
Yeah, me and Denali were talking about it. Denali was even saying like we got to get resin lung to like pop back up and participate.
Yeah, he was a very important part of the crew. Very big heart of the crew. One of the funniest human beings I've ever been around. He gave me a few asthma attacks just laughing. Which of the OGs was the most standout? There are several different old OG cuts that stand out for different reasons. I think Loompa's headband, which is still a horrible name for it because Loompa grew it once, passed it, and then tossed it because he thought it was shit. So why his name stuck with it, I don't know. He got it from someone else. It was stolen out of a room. Where's H&L been? Probably busy at working because he's a normal working man and has a farm. So yeah. How does that cut compare to the F cut? I don't know. I was never past the F cut. I was banned from the F cut because I didn't give a shit for anyone on THC Farmer, and made that loud and well known because all of them, not all of them, but a good portion of 98% of them were fucking dummies with their heads up their ass. So, including the owner. So and that was a cut widely passed on the farm. So I was instantly banned from it. But I already had a bunch of other OGs and early OGs, so it wasn't anything that I chased either. It stood for the Fugazi cut, the faux cut, FAUX, and F cut has nothing to do with it. That's good news. Good news. That's where I saw it being passed around earlier, but yeah, that's awesome because it wasn't being passed around a bunch of other places. That's the best answer I can give you. You gave H&L the F cut. Yeah, where did you source it from, Joe's? Was it an Icy Mag? I know he keeps it and works with it, but yeah, it's not something I've ever asked for or asked him to pass.
Yeah, I think what Bitter has that too.
You might, I don't know. Dankiest OG, yeah, people I don't know, people I didn't interact with. The forums weren't my favorite place, as you can tell, and as you probably know, if you were around back then, you would have seen me on the forum getting eaten alive.
Oh, that's fire.
Ah, there you go. Nice to meet you, dude. Well, so I can't say you don't know what you're fucking talking about. So there you go. All right. So that's yeah. I got this new Skywalker. I mean, the old Skywalker was kind of cool. It reminded me a lot of Tahoe grown side by side, but a lot of those OGs look so similar. Trying to say which cut was which was really hard because it was like, splitting hairs. And the Shoreline, oh, well, a lot of the group thanks you then. Because I know Screw loves the Shoreline. Big fan of the Shoreline.
Yeah, I used to read his posts fucking quite a bit. Quite a bit. Though that comment thread on IC Mag.
Yeah, I bet Joe's asshole puckered every time he saw someone say, "Oh, I got that Devil's Harvest fucking Shoreline," and it was like this big fat broadleaf squat thing. I still see it. I still see it on Facebook. People making hybrids with the Devil's Harvest fake Shoreline seeds that they sold.
Yeah, I got.
Raw B Mars said, I was around a THC farm from 2010 to 2015. I remember the hit you got very well. Yeah, if you Googled my name, I think on the farm it said Matt Wright is a complete douchebag, and that was the first result for years. So yeah, that's what, if you have a really old Skywalker cut, that'd be interesting. If you got a good source on it, that's fucking cool. Yeah, DHK never had real Shoreline. Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, I know what they did, especially now after like running a bunch of different hybrids and seeing like it pretty consistently like spits out that profile.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't, at least in 2012, 13.
Geraldine Lancaster said, "Yo, you all don't give enough love to Skunk One. It's a backbone of most good strains." So one of my favorite lines is Super Skunk. So I do love Super Skunk. I love some Skunk One hybrids, but for the most part, my dislike for Skunk One isn't because of anything to do with breeding at all or who made it. It's how it affects me personally in my brain chemistry. That shit puts me in a bad zone, and I know it does a few other people. But yeah, as far as growing, I mean, it's made some of the Skunk One, Haze, Northern Lights are some of the backbones of most of the strains out there. What do we got? Joe said, "I have this OG Skywalker that's comparable to F Cut that smells like Bubba with fuel." That makes sense. I mean, Bubba Kush is half OG Kush, so yeah, it makes sense. That'd be cool to see, though. I haven't seen that in a long time. Nobody gives love to watered down skunk. It's a 1 in 1,000 seed winner. You give love to a good plant. Let's see. I think Spindle was the last one with OG from Resin Lungs. Bitter said sometimes it has a berry terp. Resin Lungs cut when I grew it, and I made crosses with it. I didn't get any berry out of it, but everybody's nose is different and can pick up better terps. But the cheese has some berry in it. Resin Lungs smelled like an extract of OG Kush and had every smell that every different OG Kush cut I've ever had, like all combined and slammed into one. And not only that, its hybrids tested super high for terpenes. Do you have pictures of Resin Lungs OG Kush anywhere? I'll look. When I was last growing it, it was pollinated, so I wasn't taking many pictures of it because I'm picky, and pollinated weed doesn't look ugly at the end. You know what I mean? Or it doesn't look pretty. But Bitter should have some pictures of it. Let's see what we can get you.
He ran that not too long ago, sometime this year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Did it smell like Bubba? I mean, Bubba grown different ways. Sometimes Bubba can smell like OG Kush and be soapy Bubba, like I call it, or not quite pine sol, but soapy Bubba. And there was some of that scent in there. There wasn't a lot of the earthy scents in there. It was more of the every other direction except the coffee and earthy, if that makes sense. What is the scent on Aloha White Widow Jojo Rizzo used to use? I'm hunting through S1s. I enjoyed the episode, the Canna Crew, and all the old strains they talked about. Jojo's was very fruity. That's the best way I can describe it, but a lot of the good old White Widow was. Aloha Seeds was actually out of Amsterdam, so it was another Dutch company doing either hybrids or F-gens. No coffee and resin lungs. Not that I saw, but each different grow is going to have different expressions depending on how you grow. It smelled like OG Kush extracts. That's the best way I can describe it. And testing, like the hybrids were testing at 5% myrcene, which is crazy when it was crossed with the blue bonnet. Anyone know of seeds I can get with wintergreen, peppermint, or spearmint terps? Grecian White Widow is refreshing, but not exactly minty. Now, I smell like menthol cigarettes type filter stuff in terpinolane, and not a lot of people do. I also smell like witch hazel and stuff like that, and other people can, but other people also smell just piss, like cat piss or urine or astringent smells. So it depends on the nose. My nose is fucked up. A lot of stuff went up there when I was a kid. So I'm not the best person to ask on smells. I can do it okay. Specifically blueberries. I can do the splitting hairs on blueberries, but wintergreen, peppermint, spearmint, not sure. It's kind of like piney. I don't smell a lot of piney. I don't smell a lot of lemon unless it's super in my face like lemon G. So yeah, hopefully you can find something and someone that has a better nose for me for the wintergreen peppermint and can chime in.
The only stuff that I've seen that's like true to that smell that isn't like one of those faint, like it's kind of like this.
Yeah.
was the Dolce Vita from Bitter.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
See
and
that.
I don't know if it was like that mixture of the like camphory thing in the P91S one, like I don't know what the deal was there, but it
That
did.
had strawberry cream in it, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the strawberry cream that I gave him came from CBF, and it was the F8 or F9, and it had some little weird notations on it. And the original strawberry cream didn't have any terpinolene in it. However, um, yeah, it did have it had some pollen contamination, I'd have to say, in it with some haze. And we know that he was making, strawberry cream crossed different hazes of Tom Hills. So yeah. And who is Screw? Screw has been on the show with me for a few years now, and he is a grower out of the, what would you call your area?
The
Vaguely.
Third Coast. I mean, I'm from where you're from, so
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
um, yeah, I'm just a grower. I just a dude who likes weed, really.
Yeah, he's from your area. So yeah, no, but Shoreline. When I first met Screw, he wouldn't shut up about Shoreline, and that's all he wanted. He was on a hunt for the Shoreline, and luckily enough, it was you popped up again around that time, and Hein Lonesome was able to get it, and he finally got his white whale, and now he tends to be a fan of the hybrids of the shore. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to be fair, I also am not good at growing shore. Like, so there's also that.
I don't think I
But
could grow it and make it look
I
pretty.
I do think there are some really good improvements. The first time I had shore was in like 2004. It wasn't the first good week, like the first time I paid $20 for a gram with my friends, but it was the like first bag that I was like, oh shit, this is, we need to start moving more into this instead of smoking fucking brick.
Yeah, I mean, what was the gram like ounce size? Because it's so fluffy.
I've had like fucking quarter sacks just be like a bud,
Yeah,
like with my friend,
yeah,
it like there were some big, like it definitely was, better than what I've been able to get out of her. But even, I
yeah.
mean, I don't know, even fucking better growers than me of it. I still do see just some qualitative things that could be brought up, and in the
Yeah.
hybrids, I get that. What I love from it, that like weird, bright but funky, just fucking raunchy smell, but with like better smoking qualities, easier to fucking bring in, um, better flower density and stuff like that.
He got it one step away from you. So, yeah, I guess you would be the source. Um, did I work with any other Lone Star gear besides the blueberry stuff? No. When Lone Star was still around, I guess I did have the Plan B Black Indica that I did work with very early on, but most people don't associate Lone Star with the Plan B stuff. Plan B was him, Bog, and some other guy named Magic Mike, I think. Um, but yeah, I had my own blueberry at the time while he was alive, and I was very conceited about it. And it took me losing it, and it was a very good blueberry, but the potency was gone. Like there was no good recreational potency there. And yeah, being able to grow a blue bonnet, aka Texas Super Blue, I learned what real breeding was and how far away from real breeding I was doing with blueberry. So I always give Lone Stars props now. So do I have an Afghan male, the kind of Afghan that smells like when you defoliate and veg? I did have a good Afghan male from the heirloom Afghani that came from Bite Me. Um, it was very skunky. I mean, it smelled like when you defoliate Urkel or take clones of Urkel, but it didn't turn into grape. And Joe's. I think Screw would love some shoreline growing tips. He's very good at taking advice, especially when it comes to stuff like that, and from someone who has grown it for a long time. So I'm sure he'd love to connect. If he hasn't already, I don't know.
No, I have not been. Listen, it's a little bit of a fangirl moment. Don't want to be weird about it because I've like literally I've spent a lot of time reading that comment thread where like resin grower popped in, you know, like all that whole thread that you made on IC Mag over and over. So yeah, I would definitely take tips from growing it because I'm just not. I'm not able to get it, not just to, as good as I've seen it done, but just as good as I do other plants. So,
yeah. Let's see. Does anyone or can you use reversal spray to turn a male plant female to see potential traits it could throw? So if you want to reverse a male, you're going to use something completely different than, say, STS or an STS base or any of the other bases. You would want to use something called ethafon, aka Florel. You don't use it at high concentrations. And when you reverse a male into a female, it's sparse hairs with a little bit more resin. You're not going to get big buds that you can smoke, nor would I ever recommend smoking anything you sprayed with Florel. So it's more of getting a little bit of resin on your fingers, smelling it, and then growing out the progeny of the male, and then, seeing if that trait passes on, which just because something has, a male has specific terps when reversed into a female does not mean it's going to be anything it passes on in the traits. Let's see. No more banana work. I bought those dosed bananas and ice cream banana years ago. Fucking leaves were like dinosaurs. I did banana work for many, many, many years. And the one thing that I concluded was that it's very hard to get it to breed true for banana, like Laffy Taffy banana type scents. And the flavor's not usually there for banana as far as it tasting like banana. And there's a lot of cardboard in the hybrids. Here we go. Do you see any weed shoreline level today, Screw?
locally, no. Definitely not. It's definitely not in the market. I'm sure it's being produced. And like, I don't know if it's just because of the, like the time and like my experience level at that time or whatever, but I don't even really see weed from people who are way better growers, hitting those same like marks, or at least, I don't know if it's because there was such a huge disparity between, like most of the weed and good weed. But I definitely don't see, even sure from better growers, I haven't seen it in the same way as it used to be. At least that like I used to buy.
Yeah. Matt, please consider growing out the name strains you have and documenting the grows to have a record of legit strains. Up until the bonnet stuff, it was all documented. And yeah, there's Mad Jag. But what ended up happening was I transferred over my site to someone else to run it. And they deleted everything off my site, all the old pictures, because they were moving it to a payment processor. And the payment processor ended up shitting on everything alone, so I lost a lot of pictures. I do have stuff backed up on hard drives. Gotta wade through it, but yeah. Mad Jag, what's up? Good to see you, buddy. We're gonna have him back on very, very, very soon. And right now on YouTube, I uploaded the first 2 episodes, and they're gonna be airing tomorrow night and Sunday night at 6 p.m. so people can see the first 2 Mad Jag episodes ever recorded. Now, they're not the quality I would like to have had them in, but right before YouTube completely cut us off I was able to download what copies existed, and that's what they are. And I'm working on redoing the thumbnails. I've got a fucking beautiful picture of Mad Jag on one of them, his face looking like a badass. So yes, the Wizards of Mad Jag Canyon will be back. Catsu's Bub is better than Pre 98. I actually like how it breeds better than Pre 98, especially with Blueberry, not gonna lie. And shout out to Moof for the $10. He's over on Rumble. And I always say Moof, but it's Muff, because he's a Muff muncher, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he said he has the Shaw Bubba Blue Bonnets. He has two phenos. One is menthol Vicks, but super light, and the second is rank tonsil stone smell. That's wild. That is wild. Yeah. I think the Mad Jag episodes are some of the best episodes we ever recorded. Unfortunately, there is a dippy dip on one of them, constantly inserting dumb questions. But Mad Jag did a great story, a great job of telling a story along with our friend Raho, who I miss quite a bit and would love to have Raho back on as well again. Let's see. Okay, I'll get you my email address, Mr. Mad Jag. Let's see what we got. There is a seed ban? I don't fucking know. Who cares? You know?
Always has been, bud.
Always has been. So, like, it was never legal. You know? A lot of people thought that for some reason, but they were applying it to the hemp bill, and that had never been tested in court. No one had ever pushed it in court to be able to say, yes, this is 100% proven in court to be legal under these laws and this hemp law. So, yeah. You got it, Mr. Jag. Yeah, I was dabbing only for a little bit until I got cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, and that stopped my love of hash and dabbing. I still have a mad love of hash and dabbing, but I just can no longer do it. And pretty soon, sometime in September, mid-September, we're going to be interviewing Dr. Pescatori, who's one of the foremost experts on cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome. And I'm very looking forward to it, especially after having my gallbladder removed, to see if, you know, some of the vomiting may have been from the stones and sludge, apparently, that I had been developing over time, if that made it worse and more extreme. Looking forward to it. Looking very forward to that conversation. A lot of people think it's propaganda, and it's frustrating. But yeah, I would spend 7 days at a time puking every 8 minutes, nonstop, sucking on ice cubes, trying not to die and not let my kidneys shut down. I lost, 90 pounds in 9 months, something like that. It was crazy. It was crazy. This last hospital stay, I got from 170 down to 155 pretty fast within a week. You know, I never was able to jump into hot and cold showers because my body was so sick that every time I'd get up to pee, I knew that I would be shivering, shaking, crawling back to the bed, and throwing up really, really hard for, you know, it would be really extreme versions of the scromiting. They call it scream vomiting. But yeah, so I have to take it easy when I smoke now, and it'll build up in my system again slowly, even flower. And after about a month, I start getting the morning sickness, and I know to pill back and moderate more. That's really what I've learned is moderation. And as someone who has an addictive gene, moderation isn't my key. That's not something I've ever been good at, and I had to learn. Yeah. All right. So next, we have the very, very interesting bust. I believe it was in Georgia. And we have a few videos about that. It's just kind of interesting. It has to do with people shipping through, I think, private couriers. And it sounds like whoever was transporting it in the truck told on himself or told on what he was shipping, and they were able to catch it. Am I going to do a podcast with Fletcher? No, we don't talk. And there's good reasons for it. But I wish him the best regardless. I mean, he has great knowledge. I can't say anything negative about him as far as cannabis goes. I really can't. Let's see, here we go. Flanville, yeah. Unfortunately, Flanville threatens to snitch on people and all kinds of weird shit. Yet he hangs out with Res Dog, a snitch. So I wish him the best too. I hope he finds his way through everything. But yeah, here we go. Add to stage. See if this works. And here is the Fox 5 report. Truck driver finds 1,800 pounds of marijuana in trailer.
A truck driver makes a surprising discovery in the load that he was hauling.
And that led Butts County Sheriff's deputies to seize 1,800 pounds of marijuana. Fox 5's Annie Mapp joins us at the live desk with the details. Annie?
Butts County Sheriff Gary Long believes that marijuana belonged to drug traffickers who he says are using legitimate shipping companies to move illegal drugs across the country. Sheriff Long says a truck driver stopped at a local truck stop Tuesday when he noticed his load had shifted. He says the
And you know that's all just California boof being moved out to Georgia or wherever it is.
driver climbed into the trailer to check for damage and found an open box filled with marijuana. That led him to call 911. Deputies responded to the truck stop. Long
This fool called 911. Terrified.
says they found about 1,800 pounds of the substance inside the tractor trailer. He says the drugs had been shipped from Sacramento, California, and were being hauled by a driver who thought he was carrying a legitimate freight load. Now, according to the
She meant freight.
sheriff, the driver had already made a delivery at a legitimate warehouse in Atlanta and was headed to Orlando when he stopped in Butts County.
He'll not.
Hotlanta got their weed, but on the way to Orlando.
Dude, that's hilarious. So I didn't know that this was a fucking thing that you told me what you told everyone before you hit play, just that like, oh yeah, there's a truck driver, he told himself that stuff.
Yeah.
This little fucking motherfucker, like, okay, so the shipping dude, yes, he fucking called and like, he's an independent contractor, whatever, he's shipping a load, finds drugs in it. But the people running that thing are telling on themselves on fucking YouTube lives and all that shit consistently, like 3 times a week, about using that exact shipping method.
Yeah.
Like, what if it's just crazy how much people tell on themselves nowadays with, like, there's fucking methods that you don't talk about methods, in operations like that. That's crazy.
Yep.
Because now they're definitely going to, because that it's clever, it's a clever thing. Like, why would I fucking pay some dude who's going to piss his pants when he gets pulled over for a speeding ticket, to like drive this stuff all the way from California to fucking New York or whatever, when I could fucking just put it in a, drop it off at a warehouse and have someone do it for me.
I just love that right behind him it says protecting your butts. Sheriff Gary Long. Like Butts County, protecting your butts. Yeah,
not be charged. And actually, to tell you the truth, it's a sad day for the truck driver. He's out about $10,000 for doing the right thing. We are going to give him some reward money because this is a big seizure. We have reward money for stuff like this.
And Sheriff Long says this evening they are burning all 1,800 pounds of that drug. At the live desk, Annie Mapp, Fox 5 News.
So that's the start of it, right? Like that's the start of this story. Let's see. And now I have to add in the second part.
Dude, that's crazy. If he gets paid, he'll be like the only person in Crime Stopper history that's been actually paid out.
I wonder if they're going to pay him $10K though, or if he's just going to lose $8K. They'll give him $2K.
And you're like middle and high school where dudes like fucking like buying, like trying to like use that to buy drugs, like with the money, and then getting fucked over and everyone like beating the shit out of them and then becoming, like pariahs. Because dude, they never pay out. Everyone I've ever seen do anything like that never gets paid out, and everyone's like, I fucking hate you.
Yep. Yep. And it's all fucking, and most of the shit that gets shipped over there's boof. They should go back to using the bouncy houses. They need to go back to using the bouncy houses that are massive and that nobody wants to unroll. But I think because it got popped once, in the early 90s or late or mid 2000s, that they have moved away from the bouncy houses. But I think it's been long enough, right? And here's the conclusion.
The business at the center of the marijuana raid says their company is on the up and up.
And now, new at 6, we're hearing from attorneys representing 2 people arrested. Channel 2's Michael Seiden, live now in DeKalb County with the exclusive video and also documents raising new questions now, Michael, about the case.
Yeah, George, we're here in Tucker, right outside the business. Take a look. You can see the door is locked. The lights are out. The owner's attorney tells me his client is scared to come back to work. That's because not only was he the only one arrested, he's got family members and friends. They're all facing felony drug charges. It looks like marijuana, and according to the defense, it may even smell like it.
I'm not sure if you could see that. It said THCP on it. So it wasn't even like well-grown cannabis. It was hemp extracted and sprayed with bullshit. So I don't think.
But attorney Tom Church says that doesn't necessarily make it illegal in Georgia.
I think the bottom line is they arrested first and asked questions later.
Church is part of a team of attorneys, including Whitney Shirk Baker, representing people arrested in the case. He represents Nick Rajwani, who Church says operates a licensed hemp wholesale business. State records show Air Distro is an active Georgia business at the same Tucker address deputies raided. And now we've obtained this surveillance video. Church says it shows deputies following Rajwani into this Waffle House parking lot after he left the warehouse. Deputies searched him.
The officers debated amongst themselves whether these products are legal or not, and ultimately let him go.
Church says days later, investigators obtained a warrant. Rajwani surrendered. He and 5 others now face felony drug charges. The defense also gave us this lab report from a Georgia-approved lab. It tested an earlier sample of a similar pre-roll product and showed a Delta-9 THC concentration of 0.22%. But this is important. This is not a test of the product deputies seized. And Church says that's exactly the problem.
The state admitted at the bond hearings that they were waiting on test results. They've requested expedited testing by the GBI, but they've arrested people, they've locked them up. They've charged them with felony marijuana offenses based on the fact that these products look like marijuana, smell like marijuana, and may or may not have some THC, but we don't actually know whether they're illegal or not.
Yeah, we asked the DeKalb County.
So they were labeled THCP again, but we don't even know that, we don't even know if it had anything that would get you high in it.
Well, I mean, if it's that THCP stuff, yeah.
Now, I've never tried.
The problem is it's not fucking at all natural. So if from the point that they're trying to argue, no, it's not marijuana. The prosecutors could probably be like, you're right, it's a synthetic cannabinoid, because that's like, what they're falling under. Now, the fact that they got caught now and not in a couple of months, I don't know how that whole thing's going to go into effect, but
I'm sure they would have rather been caught, 6 months ago, 7 months ago for the same offense. I think they may have had a loophole at that time. But
I think, just with things being so weird and changing so quickly, it seems like, I could see how even like on, like the fucking, not just like the cops, but like the prosecutors and just everybody involved being like, well, fuck, we don't even know how to deal with these, deal with these things. Is it fucking legal? Is it not? How illegal is it actually? Because there's definitely varying levels of charges.
Yes, absolutely.
County Sheriff's Office specifically about the testing, the hemp license, and the defense's claims about what happened during that parking lot stop. But a spokesperson told me no comment, citing the ongoing investigation. We're live in DeKalb County. Michael Seiden, Channel 2 Action News.
So I thought I thought it was a little interesting because it's relevant. It's relevant to what's going on. Yeah, we all wish the 3200 P was back, but that is long gone. long gone. At least where I'm at, that is long gone. Yeah, it's gotten pathetic. And I mean, driving down the market and tanking the price is what happens when corporate gets involved and it becomes a commodity. They can afford to lose money for a decade straight. They plan on that. That's how, these major businesses are run. And when they lower the prices so no one can compete, once the competition shook out, they boost the prices back up. And that's how they do it. 1, 2, 3, like that. All right, let's see here. And for one of the other talks we were going to have, I wanted to ask people real quick. How many of you go into places and ask for their finest sativa because you're looking for it to give you an up high? Just in chat, if you can respond, that would be really cool. How many of you like to get indicas to go to sleep?
In the couch.
In the couch, just melt in the couch. How many of you like doing it that way? Let me see if I can find window, maybe. Where is this at? Here we go. And let's get it back to where it was. 37 and 38. Scroll back up. I want to get a quick head count on this. I know, anytime you go into a collective, things are listed by sativa, indica, or hybrid. And, a lot of us who have been around a long time know that, it's not showing up? Well, why? That's not cool. I wanted to be able to show you all why this is let's see. Yeah, it's not showing up anymore, and I don't know what happened to it. Anyway, I can read from it. It doesn't matter. I'll put on my glasses. They don't even have sativas for sale in my local shops. Well, if you go by the old standards of sativa and indica, right? Most stuff there, you're not going to go find Neville's Haze in there. You're not going to go find Landrace Ties in there. You're not going to find anything like that in a collective. It's not commercially viable. None of it is. You might get lucky and find some Super Silver Haze, which you can even find Skunk One versions of Super Silver Haze that are faster flowering. But overall, I wanted to get into the modern takes on indica, sativa, hybrid, and where we're at now. And I had something pulled up. Let me see if I can get it back to being pulled up, because this is really obnoxious. There it is. Okay.
So just to be clear, you're talking about people using those definitions to define a group of feelings or effects, how it hits you.
Correct.
Okay.
It's like it's trying to break down cannabis by effect based on the leaf shape, realistically, because that's what indica and sativa were based on at the time. What people were going by is, this is more narrow leaf, therefore it's a sativa. This is more broadleaf, it's an Afghani, therefore it's going to have a down high. That's kind of where it was at for many years. I think going back to some of the first classifications of it, that's kind of where it was hitting. Let's see here. I think I found a way, hopefully. Okay, of course it fails when I go. Here. Search results, Google maybe. There we go. So, let's go ahead and start. From Rob Clark's book and Mark Merlin's book, Cannabis, Evolution, and Ethnobotany, this is kind of where they've taken stuff, and it was mostly, as I understand it, they still use like the cannabis sativa ancestor. How they're defined is much different than how people define these in collectives, or how the common person smoking weed defines them as well. But as a grower, you want to pull away from thinking like that, where you have the NLD, the narrow leaf drug type, and BLD, the broadleaf drug type, and neither of those are associated with particular hives. They're just associated with leaf types and leaf shape, leaf taxonomy. So we start off with the PA. This is called the putative ancestor. The binomial would be Cannabis ruderalis. The earliest range that we know is Northern Central Asia. Population status, putative. Cannabis sativa and Cannabis indica ancestor, either wild or ancient feral escapees. Possible ancient use for seed and crude fiber. So when you're referring to Cannabis ruderalis, it would be considered PA in the acronym term. Then we have the putative hemp ancestor, either extant and unrecognized or extinct under the binomial. Early range was the Balkan Peninsula and Caucasus Mountains, so Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, a lot of places like that, during the last ice age. Population status, hypothetical Cannabis sativa ancestor, possible ancient use for seed and crude fiber, and that's the PHA. Then we start getting into the NLHA, narrow leaf hemp ancestor. The binomial would be Cannabis sativa subspecies spontanea, and early range would be Eastern Europe and Central Asia. Population status, putative NLH ancestor, more likely feral NLH. And when we say NLH, we mean narrow leaf hemp. Cannabis sativa subspecies sativa, Europe. Population status, cultivated and feral. Uses seed and textile fiber. So when we're referring to narrow leaf hemp and Cannabis sativa, it is specifically referring to seed and textile fiber plants. So when you hear Cannabis sativa, you should be thinking more about plants that are harvested for seed, whether it's for eating or planting for more textile fiber. We have the PDA, putative drug ancestor, binomial, either extant and unrecognized or extinct. Early range, the Hengduan Mountains and Yungui Plateau during the last ice age, and I believe this is China. Population status, hypothetical Cannabis indica ancestor. Possible ancient use for ritual and medicinal drugs. So now we're getting into the drug types there. We have the BLHA, broadleaf hemp ancestor, either extant or unrecognized or extinct, Eastern Asia. Hypothetical BLH ancestor, possible ancient use for seed and crude fiber. And you're going to notice a lot of the hemp stuff with seed and textile fiber. We have the BLH Cannabis indica, subspecies chinesis. So this is like the China, Korea, Japan, and Southeast Asia, cultivated and feral, seed and textile fiber. Now we're getting to the good stuff. NLDA, narrow leaf drug ancestor. Cannabis indica is subspecies Caffrastanica, and you don't really see anything labeled Caffrastanica in collectives, right? Early range, Himalayan foothills, Kashmir to Myanmar. So we're talking, like North India to Myanmar, so Burma, Thailand, Laos. Population status, putative narrow leaf drug type ancestor, more likely feral NLD. Uses drugs. And then we get to the common, more modern types, the NLD, narrow leaf drug, Cannabis indica subspecies indica, South and Southeast Asia, Middle East. So we're talking about Afghanistan, Pakistan, again, Northern India, places like this. Cultivated and feral will apply under this. Some feral types do have drug types. Drugs used in that, also fiber and seed. Then you have the BLD, which is the broadleaf drug type, which I think most of us refer to when we would think indica, right? Cannabis indica subspecies afghanica, northern Afghanistan and Pakistan. Population status, cultivated and possibly feral. Uses, drugs, and hashish. The difference between these two, the NLD and the BLD, is simply the narrowness of the leaf. Sometimes it has to do with the serrations, but as you can see, the Middle East was was producing narrow leaf plants and broadleaf plants. So when people say all Afghanis, they tend to bring me down. It's already kind of an incorrect assumption, because you did have narrow leaf drug types there, and when we're associating with highs with the actual taxonomy of the plant, we're doing the plant a disservice and not recognizing the brain chemistry involved with all of these plants. And I saw a video the other day where a person was covering Sativa and Indica and trying to tell people, look, Sativa is a myth in collectives. And I got where he was coming from, because realistically, if you go by the Sativa and Indica, all have highs this way or highs that way, going and finding something like like I said, like a Neville's Haze, like a Pure Thai, a Pure Laotian, any of that kind of stuff that most people would associate with sativas in their head, you're not going to find that in collectives. So he was partially right, but he didn't touch on the narrow leaf drug type, broadleaf drug type, and I don't really see it being referenced in the community very often. And being that it is, this is Rob Clark's masterpiece book, and it is, for all intents and purposes, other than David Small's book, the textbook when it comes to cannabis. So I think it's something we all need to be made aware of. And you can see in this map, we have the narrow leaf hemp type down in South America, the southern tip of South America, the narrow leaf drug type up in higher South America, narrow leaf drug type in Central America, and right through Mexico, we have the NLD and the BLD, so both types there. And as you get into America, they were slowly importing stuff from Afghanistan, Pakistan, and bringing it through not just Humboldt, not just the Pacific Northwest, but all the way up through Canada when they had the early purple cushes and whatnot. And all through Africa, you're getting a lot of the narrow leaf drug types from the top of Africa down to South Africa, up through Egypt. And yeah, so I wanted to go through this real quick. Australia, you have the narrow leaf and broadleaf drug type. A lot of stuff was imported there. I don't know about New Zealand or what even this is way out here in this region. But yeah, just wanted to run this by people. If you really want to get a thorough understanding of this, and let me get back to my screen where I can properly show this. Remove. We have Cannabis, Evolution and Ethnobotany from Robert Clark and Mark Merlin. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to be telling me I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm full of shit, etc. This is, for all intents and purposes, your collegiate textbook on cannabis. And please reference that for everything that I'm saying. It's all in here. Obviously, the file I was showing, I'm not going to call it what it is, the file type, obviously. But the page numbers are different. And yeah, I think everybody should or make themselves more familiar with this. So when you go into, if you're a person who goes into clubs, you'll have a better idea and be able to educate the bud tenders who are telling you these things. They don't always like to hear it. They're not always receptive to being corrected, but I'm one of those assholes that loves to correct them and not tell them who I am or what I do and let them see if they figure it out. So that is the sativa versus indica myth. They are subspecies, but they don't necessarily apply to the plants or the high that people think they do. Highs depend on brain chemistry quite a bit. Like with mine, I blew out so many of my CB1 receptors that highs are going to affect me much different than someone who has a full range of CB1 receptors that haven't been completely killed and murdered by overdoing it. Anyway, that's my quick coverage of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole, I want a sativa, I want an indica, all that. You're just, things are classified by their like phenotypic expressions. Like that's how we classify things. It's like, what are the physical traits that lump these into a group or whatever? So for growing traits, it makes sense. But in terms of effects, I mean, I see, people label like OG or fucking sour, sativa. And it's like, well, I mean, I guess I I see what you're saying in the sense that, you know, it doesn't just like make me fucking sleepy, but like I don't think it, you know, like it's what when most people are thinking sativa in terms of effects, that's I wouldn't say it's a good representation of that, you know.
No, I mean, to me, they're both big super skunk bases. The base for these plants are super skunk, which is skunk 1 Afghani. So it's like, I just don't see that being super accurate when, you know, if you're going by that thought process, it should be downers, bro. You know, like, and granted, there was NL5 haze, according to Mark, who read the original Virginia Super Skunk that a lot of people used in the Chem Fam originally before they resourced Super Skunk from Amsterdam. Though it seems to be that Super Skunk was breeding true when Neville was moving so much of it in the 90s. Yeah, this plant affects everyone differently. And not only that, not just the plant, not just the strain, but the expression, how it's grown. It can all affect you differently. When you harvest it, how long you cure it, all that stuff's going to be a big, important factor in how this plant hits you and how medical it is. And it's a good reason why, like, people need to understand this as it becomes more medical. If you can't, in order to be medical, you have to be able to repeat something. It has to be a repeatable process, and more than one person has to feel a high a certain way for it to be medical or used for pain. They all have to help with everyone's pain. It has to be homogeneous or homozygous homogeneous. And until we get to that point and that kind of learning is understood, and I don't think it's very well understood by people running these scientific programs or the DEA that's going to be classifying a lot of this and moving their hands in the middle. Until they understand that, I'm not sure that there's any real true medical use for it that's repeatable for everyone. And that's why I harp on this topic so hard when people bring it up.
Yeah, I think the best way to like actually convey some type of information about it while without it like going into the realm of kind of like inaccuracy without being inaccurate but still conveying information is just saying like potency, what, like, hey, this one's pretty potent, you know, like now how those effects are going to affect you, I don't know, but you know, like D is very potent. Now, how you would describe the high is going to depend entirely on you, you know, but I think it's pretty objective that whatever's going on in there, it's a lot of it, you know?
Yes. And you know, like I said, Skunk 1, some people love it. Some people really love it. And for me, it doesn't even have to be a very strong Skunk 1 or Skunk 1 hybrid type. And not all Skunk 1 hybrid types do it to me, but a good portion do. It puts me into like ego death mode, like mushrooms would, like at a high dose. And, you know, where you sit there, rock back and forth, like, I fucking hate myself, you know, shit like that. It does it. It just does it to me. And not always, like Super Skunk, I could smoke Super Skunk just fine. I don't know why a specific Afghani modifying Skunk 1 does that to me. I don't know. Well, I don't know why blueberry, things that actually smell and taste like blueberry, I don't know why they all tend to affect me in a really anti-anxiety way. But I also know people who are like, I smoke blueberry, it doesn't get me high at all. You know, like, I can't argue that. That's a personal experience. It's subjective, not objective. So it's one of those things where, you know, you really have to take a lot with a grain of salt when someone at a collective tells you this is a hybrid type. I mean, almost all that shit would be a hybrid of some sort, and not just a hybrid, a polyhybrid. Like cookies, anything with cookies in it's going to be a polyhybrid, and you never want to see that family tree because it's going to look like the Habsburg family tree, and you're going to realize that you're smoking tards, and you know, yeah.
But the best sometimes.
Now, where are we going to take the show? Any more questions that people want to get in?
Well, actually, on that, I do, it is strange with that whole, like there really isn't, there's a very diverse, palette of effects that go on with cannabis. Is actually kind of, it's one of like the interesting things is how crazy different it can be. But like that Shore by Mango Haze, the high from it is what people, like, to me, it's what, when people are like, oh, sativa, that's actually like what I would think people are trying to correlate, is that more, so it's strange that sometimes it is there, but only in that instance, it seems.
Yeah.
Because there's not a whole lot that's the opposite of that,
Yeah.
almost like it's the exception to the rule. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even when I think about blueberry, there is Thai, Oaxacan, supposedly, or one or the other. We don't really know because based on how things were pollinated and how seeds were collected by DJ Short at the time. Am I back to being quiet? I don't know why this is.
I think you're just
leaning.
sitting back really far.
Yeah, I'm sitting back pretty far. All right. There is, a Oaxacan, possibly a Thai in there, and and an Afghani bringing the berry traits, but I get anti-anxiety from it, and a lot of people, Thais speed them up. They say, if you compare like a supposed Thai type and train wreck, a lot of people say that speeds them up. So yeah, here we got a comment from Magiag, and I will always read. Magiag comments: Wacky weed, 1972 era was pure Colombian sativa and fermented under pressure before being imported to the USA. It hit like no other cannabis, pure body melt, very little coordination, movement, falling down, internal spinning, enough to cause vomiting. Less personal control than expected. Check the dope taster, aka the dope connoisseur, aka Ron Rosenbaum, in High Times issue, spring 1975. He smoked and saw the carnage among the smokers. And I am going to make it a point to read more Ron Rosenbaum articles over the next several months because he did some of the best writing. And unfortunately, I've tried contacting him so many times. He is more known now for his political writing, and it's very Trumpian, I would say. I don't know that he likes to look back on his work with cannabis very fondly, but he inspired a lot of us with the way he wrote about this stuff. And I was young when he was writing. I wasn't even born when he started writing. But when I started getting very interested in genetics and started learning to back read, in the early High Times and started collecting them. And I have all of them screen captures all in a big list that I can send you, Magic, so you can have every single one listed by year and article title. So yeah, I mean, I revisit it often, and it constantly gives me inspirations every show, and I think he did it better than almost anyone else ever did it, and because it was at the time when these things were being imported, like he was writing about, the era of Thais all kind of sucking, or the era of Colombians being just god awful. After the heyday of Colombians being number one. So yeah, some of that stuff is just amazing. If any of you know Ron Rosenbaum, please tell him to get a hold of me. I will not ask him about politics. I will only ask him about weed. And if he talks about politics, I'll just sit there and nod and agree with him. I love the Orange God, just to get him on the show, I'd be happy to do that. There we go. Yeah, I think I put 20% off earlier for the merch, but I think it's 25% off right now on Fourth Wall and not 20%. So yeah, I got that wrong. So be sure to check that out. It's pinned at the top somewhere. And if not, I'm sure Miss Pinzer has cut and pasted, or you can be a part of our Discord and you'll find the link. Be sure to grab some shirts. We have old school like Panama red shirts, Colombian gold shirts, all kinds. So yeah, And Joey Bag of Pot. We don't really talk about that specifically on here, but Google my name, my company. It's very easy to do, and you'll find out. Have I ever tried broccoli cheddar S1 from Panera? I lived off broccoli cheddar S1 soup for months and months and months. That's what got me through CHS. Whenever I would be in my recovery zone after I was sick and throwing up, that I would then consume tons of Panera broccoli cheddar soup. Kept me thin, kept me sexy, and now it's too expensive. So yeah, and probably made with, even though there's no chicken in it, there's probably fake something in it now. Anyways, do we have anything else, Screw? Or is it gonna be an early night?
Not that I can think of, unless y'all got something to note about that CHS episode.
Yeah.
That not only it's not just going to be doom and gloom. This doctor is publishing a treatment protocol.
Yes.
So there is hope.
Yes. Oh, and I did think of something else. Here we go. Here we go. And don't forget, we are working with Farmer Freeman. If you are interested in having your plant sex tested from little tiny seedlings when they get their first set of true leaves, as you can see in the picture, there's the cotyledons and the true leaves. Once they get their first set of true leaves, send them in, and you can have your plant sex tested. Everyone who watches the show gets, how much is it?
5%.
5% off. What's the coupon code?
Syndicate 5.
Syndicate 5 on farmerfreeman.com. Great people. Love to work with them. They also do testing for diseases, be it the cannabis cryptic virus, which does exist out there, HLV, fusarium, all kinds of other stuff. I mean, go to their site. Highly recommend them. Love working with them. They are the only people we currently work with as a sponsor, and it's because everyone in our group is happy to use them, and I'm happy with the people behind it, and that's very important to me. So yeah, I wanted to get that out there. For the people in the Discord, it is 10% off if you go through Buy Me a Coffee, sign up, $5 a month for our Discord, and you too can get quite a bit of savings on a few different things, and we'll let you know when you get there. And there's lots of people in the Discord. We all learn from each other there. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of questions I'll answer there that I won't answer elsewhere, just because I get sick of either answering the same things, or maybe you're asking me about a company and I need to go into specific detail about the person, and I know them, if it's a person I know very well, and can give you details on specific strains. You don't just have to ask me about my specific strains. I have a lot of experience with a lot of different strains, as do other people there. I have a lot less experience with modern, like within the past, 8 years worth of strains. But there are people in the Discord who have a lot more experience that. Is Resin Lug responsive on IG? Sometimes. Do you know him? Joe's? If so, I can tell him, I can text him and tell him to hit you up. Also, hit us up. Email me. I'll type it in here. So you have my email. And that way,
come to the cord.
I can get you into the Discord. You're old school. You've earned your way. I'll just push you on through, because that's how we do that. And yeah, there we go. Email me there, and I'll send it over to you. And Magic said, I've used Farmer Freeman for at least 3 years. I typically order 20 to 30 each year after planting. And now we got a coupon code for you, Mr. Majag. So how about that now? How about that?
Yeah, Majag, make sure to check the server, because it's 10% off.
Yes.
Instead of 5%.
I think you still should be connected in the Discord. But if not, I'll email it to you as well to make sure you have it. And we are working on another Majag episode soon. And like I said, tomorrow night, 6 p.m., I'm re-airing episode 1 of the Majag Chronicles. And then episode 2 will be Sunday night at 6 p.m. I think we're also going to watch stuff like, what's that? The Odyssey. I've been wanting to watch that movie. Let's watch it together. Let's go watch that shit. And yeah, with that said, 6 p.m. Cali time. Yes, sir. And yeah, Screw, you got anything?
No, not really. Y'all just, keep on the small tasks in the grow. Don't overlook them. Do your sprays. Fucking water. Don't let it go too long,
Yeah. And yeah, hit me up anytime, any of you, whether it's reversal questions. You can, there's also not on the merch site, but on the other site, you can get a hold of me and I'll do like 45-minute, 30-minute, hour-long consultations and we can go deep dive. I'll help you go through even purchases you made elsewhere, let you know what I think, what I would look for. We used to have an episode up where I would go through different websites and show people how to pick apart whether the breeder knew their shit or not. It's very easy to do. Also, if any of you have a connection to Sam Cedar, I cannot get a response from Sam Cedar, the political guy. He has a seed company, and I really need to get a hold of him because I'd like to interview him. I have plenty of questions to ask him. So if any of you have that connection, let us know. Likewise, same with Andrew Callahan from Channel 5. I'd really like to link up with him. So if any of you know him, please let me know. And yeah, with that, we'll see you actually tomorrow for the Mad Jag episode. And then Sunday for the Mad Jag episode. And then again next Friday. Lots of love. And Joe's email.
I already told him, Fire. I sent him a message like earlier when you said it.
So he already knows. Perfect. All right, everyone. Lots of love. And we'll see you next week.
Want to sit at the table with the syndicate? Check out our Patreon in our link tree or description below. Our merch site is officially live. We have all sorts of shirts, hoodies, and goodies to sort you out, and shipping is super fast, and most importantly, the quality is top-notch. I've been saving old designs for years for this purpose, so please check it out, syndicategear.com. We also have an underground syndicate Discord where we get together and solve old strain history together daily. It's an amazing community of learning away from IG, and it's an amazing resource for old catalogs and knowledge. We hope you join our union of breeders and growers. Come check it out.